a new number one in this class this week. Class A rankings coming your way again. It is a Monday during high school football season, which means I am bringing you our rankers I football polls. Again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. My name is Cade Nissen. I am delivering what our rankers have sent me, and today, in this video, we are talking about Class A. And again, we've got a new number one team here, as you can see, Class A rankings. But yeah, be sure to check out the rest of the rankings across our YouTube channel and all that good stuff. I'm sure you guys are used to that by now, but so without further ado, let's get into our 16 through 11. At 16, Kingsley Pearson. I want to say two before we start. ACGC. If there's any ACGC fans right now out here listening, you guys are number 17, one away. Close to putting you guys in, just not enough to knock any of these teams out right now. But ACGC at 3-0 is right on the outside looking in. And starting with 16, Kingsley Pearson, they got a nice win at Westwood, 25-13. They hold down that spot. Logan Magnolia, they moved down one after losing to Woodbury Central, 39-14. Mount Ayr at the number 14 spot, they lost to Madrid by one. But they move up one. So Madrid 35-34 loss versus. Or Mount Ayr 35-34 loss versus Madrid. Columbus Community, they lost to another ranked team in Lisbon 34-28. They hold down this spot. They were right there last week. Nashua Plainfield, they moved down one after beating BCLUW 46-6. In Southwest Valley, they moved down two after beating Grandview Christian 32-28. Nothing those two teams really did to deserve moving down after wins, but more about teams behind them getting bigger ranked victories as it usually goes. So without further ado, let's get into the top 10. And as you can see, 9 and 10 was a matchup last week where East Buchanan beat Maquoketa Valley. Maquoketa Valley was at number 7. East Buchanan was at number 12, I believe. So as you can see, East Buck has to jump over them. East Buchanan again wins that battle of two ranked teams 39-21. So pretty convincingly. Tanner Thurn with 25 attempts for 196 and 4 touchdowns on the ground for them. Again, for the East Buck squad, who finds themselves back in the top 10 for the first time since week 1. Maquoketa Valley, obviously they fall, but they will look to bounce back against 0-3 Postville. And East Buck, they've got 2-1 Starman next. At number 8, Lisbon, and what a win. I mean, this team just keeps climbing and climbing. And it was really just a battle of the running backs. They squared off with Columbus Community last week. And Columbus's Caden Amigon, quick shout out to you. 39 attempts for 333 yards on the ground, while Baylor Spidel of Lisbon, he dueled him all night with 22 attempts for 277 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns. So again, just battle of two great running backs, and Lisbon ended up taking that one. Believe that was 34-28, a win for Lisbon. And again, this Lisbon team just continues to climb. And they're kind of becoming a team to watch out for in this class as they kind of sneak up into the top 8 and looking to keep climbing. And they've got Highland next, who is 0 for so far. So looking to pick up another win there. At number 7, South Central Calhoun. They moved down one after winning a tight one over Riverside 34-28. Would have liked to see that one be a little bit more convincingly, but nevertheless, South Central picks up the win, stays in our top 10. Gavin Bata, he was a threat through the air yet again, 15 for 27 for 273 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns, but he did have 2 picks. So, but nevertheless, his favorite target from last year, Mr. Sword, broke out this week. He had 6 catches for 142 yards and 2 of those Gavin Bata touchdowns. And SCC, speaking of ACGC, they get to battle them. So a chance for ACGC to really make a statement and crack into the top 16 next week, and a chance for South Central Calhoun to pick up a win over an undefeated team. At number 6, West Hancock, they were number 1 until they fell to St. Ansgar. And it was a rough one for the Eagles, at least offensively. Just 3 for 13 through the air and just 3 yards per carry on the offensive side is not a recipe for success, and I'm sure they know that, and they've got stuff they want to work on, but they get a chance to bounce back this week against a 2-1 North Union squad. But let's get into our top 5, as we have one new team, as you guys can imagine who it is. St. Ansgar, as you can see, but we'll start with number 5, Woodbury Central. They hold down this spot. And really, our Class A ranker wanted this team to make a statement, and that's what they did, beating a good Logan Magnolia team by 20 plus. And Drew Klunder, I remember looking, he threw for like 300 something yards against this team last year, and he just about did it again. He went 20 for 30 through the air for 298 and 2 touchdowns. Again, I'd say the best quarterback in Class A, kind of had his way with Logan Magnolia all night, and they pick up a nice win and hold down that number 5 spot. And they would have moved up if it weren't for the number one team falling and someone having to jump up. So Woodbury Central, they get Galen Catholic next. At number 4, this is actually our second time a team has won Team of the Week. 2 times. St. Ansgar, they won it a few weeks ago, I believe. But, I mean, what an upset. It was impossible to not put this team in the top 5, and they could have even bet higher, you could argue. But I truly thought this was Wes Hancock's class to lose, at least through the regular season. But those plans and thoughts have been thrown out the window after the Saints stunned the number 1 team in just week 3. And they did so as a team. It was not just one guy. They had 3 different guys with 10-plus carries on offense, which proves kind of how versatile they are and kind of how they keep you on your toes. So a nice win for St. Ansgar, and they held the Eagles, like I said, to just 3 yards per carry, which is very impressive. And they get a winless Belmont Clemmy team next. So St. Ansgar looking to pick up another win and move to 3-1. At number 3, Madrid. Quinn Douglas said it best on X or Twitter, or whatever you still call it, that Madrid football is back, and I think they proved that this week with a 35-34 thrilling victory over a ranked and really good Mount Air squad. And like I said, the Tigers have officially announced their arrival to the elite tier in Class A. Tyler Fuller was special, the quarterback for Madrid, 91 yards passing and 180 yards on the ground, scoring all 5 touchdowns for the Tigers. And they'll get a shot this week to stamp themselves as the team to beat in Class A when they try to wreck the number 1 team's homecoming, as you can see right there, Linville-Sully. But before we talk about Linville-Sully, got to talk about the Lynx. And the story for Lynx on their rise to number 2, it's the defense. 0, 7, and 0 points allowed in the first 3 weeks for this defense, and that's pretty elite. And the offense has done enough to pick up 3 possession or more victories in all 3 weeks. Junior Drew Rise had a great game last week, tallying 10.5 tackles, and they get 1 and 2 North Cedar next. So North Lynn, a pretty quiet rise to the number 2 spot in Class A. But without further ado, a new team at number 1 in Class A for the first time this year, Linville-Sully, and welcome to the number 1 spot. Again, they lose Quarter Noun Harder. Last week I saw on Twitter he posted that he will be out for the most of the regular season, but he'll be back for the postseason. So tough loss, but I mean they really pick up a win in what I would call a trap game against Pleasantville. Again, losing your top running back. People are kind of doubting you. Pleasantville is a rising team, and they ended up winning 36-27, and a lot of that was because of Landon Montgomery. And he's going to need to be the man for most of this regular season because of Noun Harder's absence for the rest of the regular season. But Linville-Sully, they get to really put a stamp on their number 1 spot this week as they score off with number 3 Madrid, and I did hear that it is their homecoming. It's a game I'm even considering bringing the camera to. So Linville-Sully Madrid, number 1 versus number 3 this week. Going to be a ton of fun. Super excited for that. We're going to have our eyes on that at IA Football. But that is all we have for our Class A rankings this week. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Be sure to leave a comment, agree, disagree. Maybe a team outside the top 16 that you're wanting to see in if you're listening. But yeah, just appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next week.